Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing great. Welcome to our today's session of Meet the Global Leader. This session is fall under Impact of series of by School of Entrepreneurship Development. This program is to share the journey, life lessons, and some guidelines for university students of Bangladesh who are currently studying at the universities to let them understand how professionals, entrepreneurs around the world do things, how they implement skills. And through that conversation, we try to convey the message to our audience who are students that before graduation, why it is so important to develop skills for them to make themselves ready for the future, for the professional sector, and if they want to be an entrepreneur, they can start their own venture. But skills are the main priority. They should focus. So we have invited today as our guest speaker Miss Hadil. It is our great pleasure to welcome her to our session. She's the founder and CEO of She Sparks Impact. She is a global change maker, empowering women entrepreneurs and promoting equity and inclusion through impact-driven strategies. She leads the MENA portfolio at the World Bank, fellow at the IMF, and she is a Swedish Institute leader-led alumna. Her inspiring leadership has advanced gender equality and social innovation across regions. Today, we are honored to learn from her vision, experience, and journey in creating sustainable impact and inclusive growth. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Hadil. Hadil, how are you doing?
Hello, hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm quite well.
Glad to hear it.
Great. So,
Thank you for having
welcome to
me.
our session. It's our player, and welcome to our session. If you, as you know, like our audience, they're university-going students. So, if you, in brief, share about how was your university life and what you did apart from your studies that actually helped you shape some of your skills that have been been useful all through your professional career.
Yeah, of course. So my university life was both in Yemen and in the UK. So I did my undergrad in Yemen and I did my master's in the UK. And a huge part of what I enjoyed about university was the volunteering opportunities that I had and the engagements that I had with different people. So, for example, we had a TEDx when I was an undergrad in Yemen that I was part of helping kind of like finding the people that we will be selecting for the TEDx event. And that was such a great experience, just as an example for that one, because I realized through that experience that I really like helping people in terms of like improving their public speaking skills. And I like the idea of like interviewing different people and deciding who would be a best fit for things. So that had helped me also learn a bit more about what are some of the things that I enjoy doing as a future job, for example. And then when I was doing my master's degree, I also was trying to find kind of an opportunity to work as I was studying because I was always getting advice that it's really important to have a work experience before you start your job. And if you are a student, you're like, okay, I don't have a job. What do I do? So I was trying to find these opportunities. So I was a student ambassador in the university, and that really was a great opportunity for me. It was a small part-time job, so some money, but also a great opportunity to connect with new students and also start practicing the actual work experience that I will be doing. I wanted to be doing in the future. Yeah, over to you.
Perfect. So referring to your experience, students sometimes like find it difficult to turn volunteering experience into meaningful work. Say, for
Hmm.
example, they some of the students they are happy to be part of a member of this organization. Like this, all organizations they are member to make their resume, like their CV a little bit, like more pages on that and spaces to cover spaces in their CV that I am member of
Mm-hmm.
10 organizations, rather than like sharing meaningful, like skills or work they have done through volunteer experience. So, um, if you shed some light on briefly uh, how students should choose where to work as a volunteer and how they can turn into meaningful experience for their future.
Mm-hmm. That's such a great question. I think it's more of a combination of trying to find a mentor or at least someone in the university or someone that you know that can help guide you through understanding the path that you want to take. So, trying to understand what type of work you might want to do is a first step. So that can happen through asking different people that do these different type of jobs, what is it the day-to-day work that they do, so that you can figure out if that's something that you want to do. If you can have an opportunity to do shadowing for people that do some work. So for example, if you are considering to work in HR and you're like, oh, I think I'll be having fun working in HR, or it's going to be the type of work that I want to be doing. So if you try to find someone who works in HR and you just follow them in one day or a few days on what is the work that they do so you understand better. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you just ask ChatGPT what exactly the tasks of a certain job that I want to be doing would entail. And so once you figure out what are the tasks for the potential jobs that you will be doing based on your major, then you decide what is that type of job that you will be doing. So let's say, for example, if I do shadowing for HR and I continue doing the shadowing and I realize that, okay, I want to do HR. Now, once I have selected that type of work, the next step would be, because I already know what are some of the tasks that would entail, then I will do volunteers that are relevant to this type of work. So, for the example of HR, then me volunteering in TEDx is very relevant because I'm interviewing people to come and speak and be selected for the event. So I'm doing some of these volunteering opportunities that are relevant to the task for that certain job. And also the other part would be to try to volunteer for organizations that you might want to work for, so that you already have some work experience with them and they saw your experience, so it's a bit easier for you to then have a job with them in the future.
Absolutely, this kind of analysis is important because other than the people, so I have volunteered for 10 organizations. So if it is meaningless, then it will
Mm.
actually create like a dilemma and frustration among them. So it's very important to check and match with the passion and whether it is going to help them in future or not. This is very important. So like you have worked. On gender equality and impact. And if you share a little bit about what inspired you to work on gender equality and social impact.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I think it's really important. It has always been important to do something that I care about. And gender equality, or specifically women's empowerment, has always been something that I cared about since I was a kid. I'm originally from Yemen, so it's one of the worst countries when it comes to women's rights, and so it's very relevant in my view to my work, to my life experience, and that's a huge part of why I wanted to do work around gender equality and women's empowerment. And then the side around social impact, and I think this is something that some of the students might realize in the future. It's kind of like my career and more my work experience and the things that I studied led me towards it in one way or another. And then I realized that, okay, this is a skill that I have. And I also realized that it's very much relevant to who I am as a person. So for me, I'm someone who cares about practical things that leads to results. And also, I did a value exercise where you can write different values or check certain values, like 100 values, and you select the most important ones for you so you understand yourself better. And one of the values that I care about is fairness. And so, because of that, I care about social justice and my experience in projects monitoring and evaluation and impact measurement. And so, I kind of like shaped my career around things that I care about and the work experience that I had. And that's why I started doing more work on social impact, because yes, I care about women's empowerment more specifically, but also I wanted to kind of have this as something that is practical, that can lead to a change, and doing the impact measurement and trying to understand the final results that you want to achieve, let's say, for example, gender equality, and what are the steps that you need to take and the indicators that would help you realize that you are able to advance in that aspect, is something that I found really interesting, but also meaningful because it kind of shows a path.
Absolutely, and in so many developed especially developing countries, um, this gender equality issue is
Mm-hmm.
huge. As you have mentioned, women empowerment as well. So there are organizations, NGOs that work with, and so many initiatives that work with empowering women.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you share in brief about your lessons learned that you have learned, uh, how it can be impactful, uh, that organization can work on for really make, say for example, of gender equality or women empowerment. What is the missing link, and how you are actually minimizing the gap?
So, how it can be impactful in general, or talking about the work that I'm doing specifically?
In general, and how you are actually approaching towards it.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the way of how we can actually make a substantial and actual change when it comes to gender equality and women's empowerment is through being able to have a clear understanding for an organization or even for an individual that's doing this type of work, a very clear understanding on what is the specific change they're trying to make. We cannot make a huge change in 1 or 2 years. So, for example, we cannot convince the whole community in Yemen that child marriage is wrong, you know? So there needs to be a very clear goal with specific timeline and with specific ways to measure how the change was able to be affected, and then to make sure that the change actually happened, asking the beneficiaries or the people that you are engaging with or seeing results on the ground. In terms of my work specifically, I did two different initiatives. So the first initiative was Mina Age, which is an initiative that was focused on doing online advocacy and raising awareness when it comes to the problems that we have in the Middle East and North Africa when it comes to gender equality. And because it's awareness raising, it's more about like seeing people comments, and it's more about people like engaging with us and how this is changing. So it's not very easy to see the exact change that has happened. But one thing that I can share is that at some point we did a campaign, and the campaign was against the more restrictions that the Houthis, which are a now the group that are taking power over the northern Yemen. So we did this campaign against the restrictions that they added for women. And so because of that campaign specifically, they actually were denied that they did these restrictions, and then they stopped these restrictions. So for example, one of the restrictions was not allowing women to work in a mixed environment, which was absolutely accepted in Yemen. So now it is accepted, and the reason why they kind of denied it and tried to kind of stop it was because of the campaign. BBC heard about it, BBC Arabic, and more and more people started talking about it. And then the other initiative that I have, which is She Sparks Impact, it's more around, it's not advocacy, it's more around trying to give more women the space and the opportunity to engage and discuss uh, how they can work together and give light to women entrepreneurs to showcase their work. And the way we're trying to measure it is basically through surveys or interviewing them after the event and asking them if they were to engage, to need a specific service from the person who was leading the event, the entrepreneur, if they were to hire them. So, for example, if it was a photographer, would you hire this photographer? And we had high responses of these people wanting to actually get these women entrepreneur services, as well as building the community and the connection for women throughout the event so that they can in the future collaborate and work together. And we've heard really good feedback around that. So hopefully also this is making a change.
Absolutely. And that part that you've shared,
Sorry?
that part that you've shared,
Hmm.
the She Sparks Impact,
Hmm.
showcasing like women entrepreneurs and sharing their work. So if in recent days, so many uh, things are related to that. People are talking about impact.
Hmm.
So what is impact to you in brief, like very generic, in general, and how have you seen She Sparks Impact, your organization, has created impact in the community or in the country you're working?
Yeah, so impact is the long-term change that is made, that is actually making a change in the society as a whole. So it's not about number of people that were served, it's more about what is the actual change in behavior, for example, that the people are making or changing because of a certain intervention. In terms of She Spark's impact, because the impact, if as someone who works on impact measurement, maybe I'm using exact words, so most people would just say, "Oh, this is the impact that we're making." But I think if we're talking about actually impact, not outcome, it is something that's really in the very long term. And I started Cheesepacks Impact 2 years ago, so I think I can say we have made some change for sure. But in the society as an impact word, I think you can only see it in even more years, not just now. But I'd say in general, what we're hoping to have as an impact in the society, to have more and more women collaborate and support each other. Um, to advance in their career and in their social life in general. But for that to happen, I think there needs to be more years for this to be seen. But the short term changes that has happened through our events, not necessarily just in the whole community, is more women collaborating within the event itself, and more women getting to know each other, and more women loving being in that community.
Absolutely. And like you empower, like your organization empowers women entrepreneurs and businesses. So, what is your, if you just have to give one advice or suggestion towards female entrepreneurs in general who, or, female who wants to be an entrepreneur in their future. So, what is your suggestion? What they should have, skills wise and knowledge wise?
Hmm. Um, okay, a few things comes to mind. One of which to try to envision who they want to be in the future, and then based on that, try to find mentors and people to look up to, at least, even if they're not able to talk to that person, at least to see the steps that that person took so that they can kind of follow through. Because I think one of the hard things that people or challenges that people face is that they don't know what path to take to reach a certain goal or to be that entrepreneur. So if they can find people that have had a similar type of business they can look up to, they can then learn more about that person's path. And then the other thing would be to expand their network as much as possible, to be helpful for people, and to not be afraid to ask for help, because especially as an entrepreneur, you need a million things, and you cannot be expert in everything. The best expertise that you could have as an entrepreneur is to be able to be a good leader and to know who can lead what and not to macromanage people. So if you're able to do that, then you can have a really successful business and find the right collaborators. So it's more about, I think the soft skills and then trial and error all the time and being okay with not achieving certain things that you thought you would achieve, and being okay with changing the path as long as the long-term goal is the same.
Absolutely. And you mentioned two or three times mentors. So
Hmm.
for students who are at universities, how can they find mentor? Because like these days, because of some professional networking sites, it is easier to like reach out. I mean, like-minded people, or like mentors as well. So the main thing that students should do is put some effort on searching, analyzing, and trying to connect with them, networking. So according to who are the ideal mentors, especially for students, and how students can seek mentors, through professional side, networking side.
Hmm. Ideal mentors would be people that are in a place where you want to be, or similar to the place that you want to be in the future. So let's say if you want to be an entrepreneur in tech, so then trying to find someone who already have a business in tech and is at least like have had it successful for a few years or so, and how to find them. Especially if you're a student in the university, try to see if there are programs in the university or if you can get any support from the university. And if not, then maybe trying through LinkedIn, or also there are programs. So looking up some programs for mentorships online. And maybe on LinkedIn, it's starting with more of something called informational interviews. So starting to reach out to some of these people that you think they're interesting and you want to learn more from them, and just have a chat with them, learning more about their career, not necessarily asking them from the beginning to be your mentor, and then asking them if you have additional questions in the future, if you could reach out. And then if you reach out to them after a couple of months or so and you feel like they have some time for you to have that relationship with them, to kind of check in every couple of months. Other type of mentors would be people that might be working in the university as well. It could be a professor, for example. Let's say you want to work in HR and that person is an HR professor or knows people that work in HR because they teach HR, so you can talk to your professors or student advisor, something like that.
Absolutely, but the process should start as soon as possible. Like it's not like, oh, I need a mentor, I'll seek a mentor. It's not like that. They should start
Hmm.
seeking mentor, and the more they do before graduation, it will be helpful for them. Um, you have like worked in different countries, in different who are from different cultures, different backgrounds.
Hmm.
So, what key lessons did you learn from working across cultures?
Key lessons would be that uh, people are more similar than we think they are, or we are as humans are more similar than we think we are. And for us to work in a more effective way, I think it's important to be able to relate to them in one way or another. So if you're working from someone who's from a very different from a different country who you don't know much about, one thing that I like to do is to try to find similarities between us and the things that I don't know about them. Let's say, for example, what type of food they eat, to not have it as a difference. Yes, it is a different thing, but not as a in a negative way, but rather something that I'm curious about and want to learn more about. So the collaboration or the working together is more exciting, and you feel like you actually want to engage with this person. And then the other thing, because we come from different cultures, there might be a lot of misunderstandings of or ways of expressing oneself. And one key thing is being having that in mind and being the person, whenever you can, the person who is listening and who's asking questions and is curious, and that would allow to reduce any misunderstandings and learn more actually about what are some of the things that might be different in the culture. For example, if interrupting the other person is super normal in a certain culture and everyone does it, so you see everyone there in, let's say, in a certain team doing this, so you don't feel offended, and at the same time you can still share that you prefer to finish everything you're talking about before hearing a comment. So this is just as an example. But yeah, to just summarize, it's mostly trying to be curious about others' cultures, but also try to find more similarities, and being a good listener, and sharing and communicating what is it that you want, what is it that you prefer, and what are the things that help you perform in the best way possible, so that you are able to engage with them in a clear way.
Absolutely. How can university students, start, um, say, for example, making a difference in their communities, even with small steps, in today's world?
It depends on what they want to do. Like I think we talked about this earlier. Like depending on the type of work they want to do, um, trying to reflect on more on like why they want to make to do this type of work. So, for example, if someone wants to work, let's continue with the same example in HR. So we're focused on one example, to work in HR, and the reason why they want to work in HR is because they want more teams to collaborate internally in a better way and people to actually enjoy their work. So if they know now the reason why they want to do this type of work, then they start thinking about how they can make a difference in the community and volunteer. So doing volunteer that's relevant to the goal, which is the job. And also you're able to make a difference. So you're not wasting your time in a million things you're volunteering in, and it's not relevant to the portfolio you want to build. So then they start thinking about, okay, how can I do the different type of volunteers that's relevant to helping people collaborate. So you could maybe volunteer in an event where you're helping different people, even a one-day event, right? Where you're helping different people engage together in that event. You could volunteer in facilitating an event. So it is making a difference because you're helping people enjoy their time and get to know each other more. Um, and so I think it's more about trying to understand what is it that you're passionate about. So for me, it was women's empowerment. So I understood that this is something that I care about. Then I started doing volunteer work that's relevant to it. So I started helping an organization called ML in the gender part. And then from there, they helped me kind of hire people for my nonprofit organization that I had, which is Mina Age. And so that's where you start building slowly on the change that you want to make. But I think passion is really important. If you're just doing things because it's good for your CV and you don't know why, like you want to do it because it seems cool, or your parents told you you have to be an engineer or a doctor, so you're just doing it, then it's not something that you can continue doing with passion. Or I mean, if you started without passion, it's never passion, but it's not something that you can keep going without feeling you're so exhausted and like, oh my God, okay, whatever. you need to have that passion for you to continue because it's not something that happens very fast.
Absolutely. It's like a ship without a radar, like they'll just roaming around, no specific port to settle. So, in terms of is it the passion, um, if from your experiences, if you share some of your achievements for your work, like participation of you're a Swedish Institute alumni, um, if you share that being selected for programs in different countries, uh, why it is important, this kind of recognition to you, and this kind of community and recognition, what have you learned uh, more than you have like doing for rather than doing work?
Can you, I want to just make sure I understood the question. So, what it means to me to be recognized by certain things, is that the question?
Yeah, by different, like different for different programs, and what did you learn in those programs apart from your regular, like experiences?
So I started doing the advocacy for MENA age and gender equality during COVID. So I had a lot more time, like most people. So that was the time where I was applying for these opportunities. So for example, I can give an example, which is the IMF fellowship experience. Um, it kind of gave me an idea that I was in the right path, but also the helpful thing about it was that it gave me more like a bigger platform, and it was good for my resume. But also I had the opportunity to engage with other fellows from different countries and learn more about their work and learn from them as well, because we did an online thing, but then 2 years ago we actually not 2 years ago, last year we met in person, and they're very interesting and smart people. So it has always been, whenever I was selected to be part of programs or certain things that I was part of, similar to the IMF, it was an opportunity for me to expand my network, to engage with more people that are interesting and have passion about social justice, and as well as seeing that I'm in the right path because I'm around more of these people.
Absolutely. And if you summarize uh, key skills, say for example 1, 2, 3, or 4 skills, that key skills that have helped you to do your work efficiently, and how why it is important for students to develop these skills before graduation,
Hmm.
so that they can make themselves ready for their future career.
Hmm. If I were to think about two things, I think the first two things that came to mind is communication skills and leadership skills. And the communication skills is about, public speaking. So I was part of a Toastmasters, which is a club for people to improve their public speaking skills, so that you are able to express your ideas, as well as the writing part. So now there's, AI, it can help you with improving your writing, as long as, you're making it sound like human. But also like writing good emails, being able to be like now, as I mentioned with AI, it's not too hard, but if it's sounding too much like AI, you're not actually distinguishing yourself at all. So the ability to improve your communication skills as much as possible before graduating, and then the ability to lead, to start even by leading your life, leading your day, and then trying to start leading some initiatives that are happening in your life, even if it's not for studies, so that you're able to know how you can be efficient with your time, who to collaborate with, who to delegate work to. And then I think with AI, you can improve these communication and leadership skills faster than ever because you can get that assistant as long as you use AI as an assistant. And so I would combine the use of technology with these two skills. I think these two skills with the use of technology will give you a really good push to start your career very strong.
No, absolutely, and it's a very important point, and we actually avoid it most of the times that you have mentioned. The leading, say for example, ourselves, our personal life, and
Yeah,
it is also important because who we are in our personal life is going to define us or who we are in the outside or in our professional world. So it's very important, like to if we are neat and clean at home, we
yeah.
everywhere will be like that. So it's very similar who are in person at our home. It's very important to lead life with like I said, like who we are in personal life will be in professional the same. So we are almost at the end of our session, but two things that we want to cover, which is like in today's around the world, we have seen that impact measurement, this term, like social impact measurement or study. So this has becoming a common stuff, a common key term. So, if you share in brief, what is inclusive impact measurement and why it is important for today's leaders to know and learn this impact measurement?
Yeah, for sure. So I can tell you a bit more about what's impact measurement and then what leaders need to learn because I don't think all leaders need to learn how to measure their impact. They can hire someone that can help them with that. So what is inclusive impact measurement? It's for me, I call it my work inclusive impact measurement, but I think it's not like a necessarily a title that everyone has. So impact measurement is the ability to measure if a program or certain type of work was able to make an impact. And as I mentioned earlier, an impact is a change in behavior or a change in something substantial in the community, and it's relevant also to the community and the society as a whole. So that's the impact. And they call it inclusive impact measurement, or the type of work that I do is inclusive impact measurement because I'm focusing on helping organizations that want to improve inclusion when it comes to impact measurement. So these are organizations that support immigrants, these are organizations that support underrepresented people or women. So that's why it is inclusive impact measurement specifically. What does leaders need to know about impact measurement, or what do they need to learn when it comes to measuring the impact or being inclusive? I think every business needs to be inclusive, and that's the exact type of work that I do, which is helping these businesses be more inclusive and include inclusion within the way they're measuring their business effect. And so what they need to learn more about is the ability to measure the impact, and maybe hiring someone as a consultant. I work as a consultant on that, or hiring a staff who's helping them with this, so they're able to say, okay, this program or this business, even if it's not a nonprofit organization, let's say it's a tech business, it's for their benefit to show and tell what is the change that this business or this program is making, so that when they're communicating with different stakeholders, they're not just giving numbers, but they're showing substantial change of what happened. So for them, so I guess what I want to say is, for a business owner or for a leader who works on any business or any nonprofit, what they need to know is they need to have clarity on what is the change they want to make, and they need to work with someone on that, or with their team on that, and then they need to work together with their team to achieve that end goal that they said they will achieve it, and to have understanding that impact is not just numbers, it's not an output. it's an actual change.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing in brief on that. And our last question is, you mentioned passion, like that they have, students have to all have to have passion uh, to continue for a long term with a journey or the same mission. So like sometimes what people discuss, or when I was a student, I had the same question that how to find passion. So what is passion? So there is some confusion and some kind of dilemma whether what I'm doing, am I passionate about it or not. So if you share your experience, how for students how they can find their passion or in
Mm,
general.
that's such a good question. Um, I don't think it's an easy thing to find. You know, a lot of the important things in our lives, we do not find in 1 or 2 days or 3 days or 1 week. It's not a one-time exercise. I don't think so. I think it's observing yourself and observing your life and keeping notes on these things. So if you're journaling or if you're even just thinking about it, just trying to see what are the things that make you excited and what are the things that make you happy, and try to link them all together. It might not make sense in the beginning, but over time it will. So for me, I'm trying to think of like what are the things that made me realize what I'm passionate about. For me, passion changes over time. So, and I think it's some of the things that I've learned to accept, which is being okay with changing what I'm passionate about over time as my life changes. So, at some points, I am passionate about focusing on, let's say, when I'm doing impact measurement, focusing on like really looking into a big thing in terms of the organization, long-term goals, and then trying to kind of like sit with myself and do these mind mapping. Sometimes I enjoy these things and I'm passionate about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus more on this. And sometimes I like facilitating events or presenting in an event, and maybe I can focus my more hours on certain things based on how my state of mind or how my life is at a certain point. Um, and so it's I think it's focusing to find passion is to keep notes on what is it that you're excited about. And then one of the exercises that I did that I thought was interesting and was helpful, I think I mentioned it earlier as well, is doing a value exercise. And people can look it up and learn more about it. But basically through the value exercise you can also kind of build the framework on what are the things that you will not do or you will want to focus on based on the things that you value and care about. Yeah, and I think journaling and continuing to see like what other people are doing, and you're like, oh my God, this person is lucky, or oh my God, that's so boring. I can never do this.
Yeah,
And so like reflecting more on these things.
absolutely. It's about life. It's a journey, and the thing is outside the book. Everything is when they go to the next step. It's not. So for example, we're talking about university students. It's about going beyond the academic life, like what is outside. So universities are
Mm-hmm.
for exploring. It's about thinking, analysis. It's not like continuously studying. The study is a part, but they have to explore, put effort. They have to
Mm-hmm.
seek what they like, and they have to keep exploring. Like you said, the values they like, and find the common space, who are sharing the same interest and who are working in that area. So it's actually like putting effort apart from their academic life. So Hadil, thank you so much. We we have tried to just as many topics as possible to share because
Yeah.
time is limited. But thank you because things that students should know, uh, we believe that we have covered most of it. So the rest of the thing they have to put some effort explore, like value mapping that you've shared. Uh, they should study, and they should use technology that can, like, take um, years ahead within like second. So it's very important for them. So Adil, thank you so much again on
Yeah,
behalf
of
of
course.
School of Entrepreneurship Development, and we wish you very best of luck for you're doing, which is really great. Social justice, gender equality is very important. Keep doing it, and we wish you very best of luck.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.